Hey, today I've got some terrifying Reddit threads that genuinely had me sleeping with the lights on. If you want more of these videos, hit subscribe and drop a like. Let's get into it. I worked at a correctional facility near the river for 11 years. We were told never to open the maintenance door in Block D's basement. Last month, an inmate got through it. Posted 6 days ago on r/no sleep by former CO, Danes. This one doesn't read like a horror story. It reads like a man trying to make sense of something that quietly broke his understanding of how reality is supposed to work. The tone is tired from the jump, not dramatic, just worn down to the wire. I did 11 years as a corrections officer at a facility I won't name, but it sits along the river in the northeast. Old place, built in layers over decades. Newest wing went up in the 90s. Block D dates back to the early 1950s. You could feel it down there. The concrete was heavier, the air moved wrong, like it was being pulled somewhere. In Block D's basement, there's a maintenance door. Rusted steel, bolted shut with hardware that doesn't match anything else in the building. Day one of orientation, they told us flat, never open that door. No explanation, no context, just a rule. Inmates on basement detail sometimes said they heard voices behind it. Their own voices, muffled, mid-sentence, saying things they hadn't said yet. We wrote it off as echo distortion from the river tunnels. Then, last month, we had a power outage. 12 minutes of total darkness on Block D. A lifer named Marcus Bell, quiet guy, no trouble in 9 years, got through the door. We found him on the riverbank outside, alive, unharmed, but every record of Marcus Bell was gone. His inmate file was blank pages in a labeled folder. Fingerprints returned nothing. His mother said she never had a son. They brought Marcus into processing, and he sat there calm, looked the intake officer in the eye, and asked, very politely, who he is. I'm posting this because I haven't slept right since, and what I found recently made it worse. No dramatic sign-off, no cliffhanger bait, just a tired man who knows he's sitting on something he can't put back together. And trust me, this story has a long way left to go. So OP backs up, rewinds to the night it actually happened. And the details here are what got me. The power cut at 11:47 p.m. on a Thursday. That part was normal. We lost power maybe twice a year. Old wiring, nothing new. Backup generators kicked on within seconds for every block except D. Block D stayed dark. 13 minutes of total black. I was running halls in A block when I heard the radio chatter. By the time I got down to D's basement corridor, the lights were back and the door was standing wide open. Here is what messed with me. The bolts were not forced. They were not cut or pried. They were just open. Slid back clean like someone on the other side had calmly unlocked them. Camera footage from before the blackout shows Marcus walking down the basement hall, not running, not looking over his shoulder, just walking like a man heading to his car after a shift. Then the feed scrambles for about 40 seconds, and when it comes back, the door is open and Marcus is gone. Search team found him 20 minutes later on the riverbank, maybe 100 yards from the building, sitting cross-legged in the mud, soaking wet, staring straight ahead at nothing. Water was maybe 40 degrees that night, but he was not shivering, did not resist, did not speak a single word until processing. I pulled his file the next morning. The folder was there, labeled and everything, but every page inside was blank. White paper, nothing on it. I checked the database. His entry existed, but every field was empty. Name, DOB, sentence, charges, all of it just gone. I called his emergency contact, his mother. She picked up on the second ring, told me she had 2 daughters, no sons, never had a son. She was not angry, she was confused, like I was the one not making sense. And then OP sits down with Marcus face to face. This part is what stuck with people. He describes Marcus as polite, cooperative, could hold a conversation, read signs on the wall, do basic arithmetic when asked. But he could not say his own name. Could not say where he grew up or how he got there. Not like he was hiding it, like the information simply was not installed. OP puts it a specific way that I think lands perfectly. He says it felt less like amnesia and more like Marcus had been emptied out and rinsed clean. All the software running fine, but no saved files. And that is where part 2 leaves us. A man-shaped hole in every system that should know he exists, and a door that nobody will explain but everybody wants sealed shut. What happened next is where things start feeling less like a prison story and more like a cover-up. They welded a steel plate over the door before my shift even ended. No work order, no maintenance request, just 2 guys from an outside crew I'd never seen before with a welder and instructions from someone above the warden. By morning, it was like the door had never been there. Administration told us Marcus Bell had been transferred to a federal facility. No name, no location. I knew it was garbage because you can't transfer an inmate who doesn't exist in the system anymore. There was nothing to transfer. I started asking around quietly. Took me weeks to track down a retired maintenance worker named Gene who'd been on the original Block D crew in the 50s. He was in his 70s by then, living alone out past the River Road. He told me there were originally 2 doors in that basement. One got sealed during construction, and the second was supposed to be sealed, but the funding ran out and it never happened. I asked him what the doors led to, and he just said the crew called it the Return. Wouldn't say more than that. Then he told me about Dwight Fells, inmate, 1993. Same thing. Went through, came out blank. I searched every database I had access to. Dwight Fells doesn't exist. No booking record, no court file, nothing. Like he was never alive. I retired 6 months after the Marcus incident. I told people it was my back, but it wasn't. The building felt different. When I walked the halls, I got this feeling like the walls were paying attention to me specifically. Like the facility knew I'd been asking questions it didn't want answered. The comments on this post hit a nerve. Former records clerk here. Inmate files don't just go blank. The physical paper doesn't erase itself. I don't know what you saw, but that detail is the one that actually scares me because paper is paper. I know how it sounds. I held his file in my hands the morning before the outage. Full jacket, maybe 40 pages. After they brought him back up, I went to the records room myself. Same folder, same label. I opened it and every page was blank. Not redacted, not torn out. Blank white paper like it had never been printed on. The staples were still in the same places. OP, please tell me you're not going back to that facility. The part about your own voice on the other side of the door is literally the same thing the inmates reported before Marcus went through. And that last comment sat with OP a little too long. OP went quiet for a few days. Most people figured that was it. Then the update dropped. I found the architectural plans, and there's a sub-basement that shouldn't exist. I wasn't going to post again. I need to say that up front. But something happened, and I can't just sit on it. After everything with Marcus, I kept a personal copy of his original booking photo, the one from before his file went blank. Call it paranoia. I had it. Out of pure obsession, I ran it through a reverse image search, and I got a hit. A 1987 yearbook photo from Jefferson County Middle School in West Virginia. The face was Marcus, dead match. But the name under the photo was Daniel Reeves. I pulled school records. Daniel Reeves died in 1990 when that school burned down. I found the obituary. His birth date matched Marcus Bell's birthday exactly, and the death date, the date Daniel Reeves supposedly died in that fire, was the exact same date Marcus walked through the door, 33 years earlier. I drove to the cemetery listed in the obituary, found the headstone, weathered, been there for decades. Daniel Reeves, both dates matching. I stood there and it hit me. The door didn't erase Marcus. It returned him to a death that already happened 33 years ago. The world just closed around the gap like it was never there. The comments on this update went to a place OP clearly was not ready for. The yearbook thing is what gets me. He didn't just lose his identity, he got slotted into someone else's death. That's not random. Something chose where to put him. It's not destruction, it's reassignment. Whatever is behind that door doesn't erase people, it files them somewhere else in history. Which means there might be other people walking around right now who went through doors like this and got placed into dead strangers' lives. I used to work corrections in Ohio. We had a hallway in the old wing that was sealed off in the 90s. Nobody would ever say why. This post is making me wish I'd never asked about it. One thing people noticed, there was a question in that thread about whether OP had checked his own records. He never answered it, and that silence hit harder than anything he actually wrote. This is where OP closes it out, and if you were hoping for some kind of resolution, that is not what this is. So I filed a FOIA request. Took 3 months, but I finally got the facility's original architectural blueprints, the 1950s originals, every renovation plan filed since then. I went through all of them, every single page. The basement where that door sits does not appear on any of them. Not the originals, not any addition, not any renovation filing since the place was built. According to every official document on record, that section of the building does not exist. It was never designed, never constructed, never approved. But I stood in it for 11 years. I walked past that door hundreds of times. I've been having dreams lately. Same one every night. I'm standing at the door and I can hear my own voice on the other side, mid-sentence, saying things I don't remember ever saying. I wake up and I can't recall what the voice was telling me, but I know it was mine. As for Marcus, or whoever he is now, they eventually released him. There was simply no legal basis to hold a man with no identity, no record, and no charges. You can't keep someone locked up when there's no proof they ever existed in the first place. Last I heard, he was living in a homeless shelter in a city 3 states away. Still no name, still polite, still completely blank, like a person-shaped hole that learned how to walk around. Here's the last thing, and then I'm done. I checked my own personnel file last week. 2 of the pages were blank. I'm not going to tell you which ones. I'm just going to say that I am not going back to check again. The reactions to this one were subdued. So Marcus technically doesn't exist anymore? Like legally, biologically, nothing? How is he even alive right now? And that is the thing that stays with you after a story like this. We treat identity like it is something solid, something permanent, like it belongs to us and nothing can take it away. But what if something underneath a building could just unmake a person, and the rest of the world quietly agreed they were never there to begin with? No argument, no questions, just a gap where someone used to be, and nobody notices. What is worse, being erased, or finding out you were never as real as you thought you were? That is not the only door people were warned about, though. Stick around. My company's IT admin, 41-year-old male, has been watching us through our webcams for over a year, and nobody believed me, 27-year-old female, until I found his personal server. This next one was posted to r/letsnotmeet about 6 days ago, and the way this story builds is going to make you want to cover every camera you own. OP goes by Not Paranoid After All. That username is about to do a lot of heavy lifting. Here is how she opens it up. So I'm, 27-year-old female, junior marketing coordinator at a mid-size firm. Been here about a year and a half, nothing special. A few months ago, I was eating lunch at my desk, laptop open, and the green webcam light blinks on for 2 seconds, then shuts off. Figured it was a glitch. Then it happened again when I stayed late finishing a deck. And again. I noticed a pattern. It only happened when I was alone or the office was quiet. I reported it to my manager. She looped in IT. Here is where it gets good. The IT admin, 41-year-old male, I will call him Greg, gets assigned to investigate my complaint. He runs a diagnostic, tells management my laptop is fine, and starts implying to coworkers I don't understand how webcam lights work. People started treating me like the paranoid girl, but I am not stupid. I install the process monitor on my own. Took about a week to catch it. A hidden process streaming my webcam feed to a local IP on the office network. I traced it to a personal NAS drive under Greg's desk. I waited until everyone left and checked it. Folders organized by employee name. Hundreds of them. Screenshots and recordings going back 14 months. My folder was the largest by far. She is staring at over a year of surveillance footage. Hundreds of employees, thousands of images. And the man who built this entire collection is the same guy everyone in the office trusts to fix their laptops and reset their passwords. This story is just getting started. What she finds next and what she has to do about it is going to make everything so much worse. Just a heads up before we get into this next part is rough. What she found inside that folder is where this story stops being a workplace complaint and becomes something else entirely. I opened my folder and there were thousands of images. Thousands. All time-stamped, all candid. Me at my desk eating lunch, me on phone calls, me adjusting my hair, me just staring at my screen. Subfolders organized by date going back to my second week at the company. 14 months of my life in neat little folders on this man's hard drive. Some files weren't just screenshots, they had audio. I clicked one and heard myself talking to my mom about a doctor's appointment. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely use the mouse, but I took screenshots of everything and photos of the NAS with my phone. Then I just stood there because I had nobody to tell. I can't go to IT, he is it. I can't go to my manager who already decided I'm the girl crying wolf. So I called my older brother who works in cybersecurity. I was sobbing so hard he could barely understand me, but he said, "Do not confront this man. And if you can clone that drive, do it." Next day, the admin left for a long lunch. My brother walked me through it on the phone. Plug in the external, start the partition clone, don't touch anything else. Hands shaking the entire time. When it finished, I grabbed the drive and walked straight out. Sat in my car for 20 minutes, just shaking. She drove home with that cloned drive in her bag, and the full weight of 14 months of surveillance pressing down on her. She didn't sleep that night, not even close. Just lay there in the dark, running it all through her head until the pattern was impossible to ignore. Every single time she reported something wrong, every complaint, every help ticket, every time she said something feels off with my computer, it went straight to him. The man recording her through her own webcam was the one they trusted to investigate. He looked into himself, found nothing wrong, and told everyone she was paranoid. Closed the case. Smiled at her the next day. And she still had to walk back into that office the next morning and sit down at the same desk he'd been watching her through for over a year. The next morning, OP takes the clone drive to the police. Her brother comes with her. We got to the station around 9 a.m. I sat in a fluorescent-lit room explaining to a detective that our company's most trusted employee had been surveilling the entire office for over a year. My brother handled the technical side because I could barely hold it together. The detective took it seriously but told me the investigation would take time and I could not tip Kyle off. I had to go back to work and act normal. Those next 2 weeks were the worst of my life. I sat in meetings with this man, watched him fix laptops and crack jokes and be everyone's favorite guy. I caught him glancing at me and never knew if it was real or paranoia. One afternoon in the break room, he walked up to me and asked if my computer issues ever got sorted. He was smiling. I smiled back and said, "Yeah, all good." After that, I started putting tape over my webcam. He noticed almost immediately, pointed at it in front of coworkers, said something like, "What are you hiding from, the FBI?" Everyone laughed. I laughed too. I went to the bathroom and threw up. 2 weeks of that, sitting across from him in meetings, knowing what she knew. The comments on this part did not hold back. I work in IT security, and this is literally our nightmare scenario. A rogue admin with physical access to infrastructure can do almost anything. Most companies have zero safeguards against it. That's exactly what the forensic investigator told the detective. He said our company had no separation of duties. Kyle was the only person with domain admin credentials. He managed the endpoint protection. He approved his own software deployments. There was literally no one checking him. When I filed my first ticket about the webcam light, it routed directly to him. He closed it as user error within an hour. This is genuinely one of the most violating things I've ever read on here. The fact that he was the one they sent to investigate your complaint is straight out of a horror movie. 14 months, thousands of screenshots, organized by name. This man was building a collection. That's not curiosity, that's obsession. Please be careful, OP. Then OP came back with an update post. He had footage from inside my apartment, and I need to move. I'm shaking typing this. They arrested him this morning. 2 detectives and a uniformed officer walked into the office at 9:15 and pulled him out of his chair in front of everyone. He didn't fight it. He just went pale and stood up. The look on my coworkers' faces. The same people who told me I was being paranoid, who laughed when I put tape over my webcam. Nobody was laughing. Nobody could even look at me. But here is where it gets so much worse. Forensics came back on the clone drive and the NAS they seized from under his desk. He wasn't just recording webcams. He had a keylogger deployed company-wide. Every password, every private message typed during work hours, medical portal logins, banking sessions, all of it. Hundreds of employees compromised for over a year. Then the detective sat me down and told me the part I still can't process. Inside my directory on his NAS, there was a subfolder labeled Home. It had footage from my personal laptop, my apartment, my bedroom, my life outside of work. They traced it back to months ago when he volunteered to help me set up the company VPN on my personal laptop. I thought he was being nice. I thanked him. He used that session to install the same surveillance software on my home machine. When the detective told me I couldn't breathe, I just sat there with my mouth open. He had been inside my home this entire time, and I invited him in. The comments on this one hit different. Nobody was joking around. The part where your coworkers called you paranoid and he just sat there smiling during the meeting makes me physically ill. He was enjoying it. That's the part that got me too. Imagine sitting across from someone reporting you, and you get to be the expert in the room who dismisses it. That's not just creepy, that's a power trip. He engineered the whole dynamic so nobody would ever take her seriously. Please tell me you have a lawyer. The company is liable for letting one person have unchecked admin access with zero oversight. This is lawsuit territory. So this is where everything finally came together. And honestly, it is about as close to justice as a story like this gets. He has been formally charged. Multiple felony counts. Unauthorized computer access, wiretapping, voyeurism. The company is on full legal hold now. Lawyers are everywhere. I cannot even access my own work email anymore. Several other employees have come forward since the arrest, after they found out their folders existed too. People I barely talked to. People from other departments who had no idea any of this was happening. My attorney has advised me to stop posting about this publicly, so this is going to be my last update. I just wanted to close the loop for everyone who followed this, and believed me when nobody at my job would. I still cover every single camera in my apartment with tape. I replaced my personal laptop entirely, but I cannot open the new one without my hands shaking. I sit down, I open the lid, and my chest gets tight every single time. I think about all those months I sat at my desk feeling crazy, feeling like nobody believed me. And the whole time the man who was watching me was the same one telling everyone I was imagining things. I do not know when that feeling goes away. Maybe it does not. But I am still here, and he is the one sitting in a courtroom now. So I guess trusting myself when no one else would was worth something after all. One comment under that final post really said it all. I'm sitting at my work desk right now, and I just put tape over my webcam. I don't even care if IT asks me about it tomorrow. What gets me about this whole thing is that the most dangerous person in the story was the one everybody trusted. He had the admin credentials. He had the keys to every device, every camera, every password in the building. And he used all of that access to turn one person's life into his personal surveillance feed. The only reason any of it came to light is because she refused to let go of what she knew was true, even when every single person around her told her she was paranoid. Sometimes, trusting yourself when nobody else will is the only thing that saves you. And that is the last story for today.